American dream does not come to those who fall asleep. The American dream.
Hi, welcome back. Again, my name is Paul Gruber, and this is the Pronunciation Workshop's 6th training session. In this session, we will cover word endings. Often people who speak English as a second language drop the endings or final sounds off of their words, or they do not pronounce these final sounds correctly. If this is done consistently in conversation, chances are you will not be understood. I've noticed that the majority of my clients clip off the endings of words without even realizing that they are doing this. What I mean by clip off is when saying words, a common mistake that foreign speakers make is that they drop off the last sound in a word, especially those words that end in a B, P, D, or a T. For example, in the word job, you may be saying job without a B sound, or the B is so weak you don't even hear it. I have a good job. You see that? You did not hear the B sound. For cap, you may be saying cap. I am wearing a cap, and you don't hear the P sound. For bed, you may be saying bed. I sleep in a bed, and there's no D. For the word plate, you may be saying plate. I eat on a plate, and you don't hear the T sound. The problem is your listener is not hearing that last consonant sound. And if the person you're speaking with does not hear what the last sound is in your words, they'll constantly be guessing as to what you're trying to say. Therefore, don't drop off the endings. Make sure that the final sounds come through clearly and fully. Do not shorten them. Let's practice these following sentences and be aware not to drop the endings off. We're going to start with words ending with P. I hope the group will sleep on the ship. The soda pop spilled out of the cup over the map and onto her lap. Was the egg drop soup cheap? Very good. Now, another mistake that foreign speakers make is unvoicing a sound when it should be voiced. For example, job ends in a B, which is a voiced sound. Job. It's not jop with an unvoiced P. Keep the voicing going throughout the whole word. Job with a voiced B ending. Same thing with robe. Also has a voiced B ending. It's not rope with an unvoiced P. It's robe. Okay? Let's go over these sentences ending with B's. We cleaned the cobweb from the doorknob near the bathtub. Rob broke his golf club when he slipped on the ice cube. The crab was under the cement slab at the yacht club. The ticket stub was found in the taxi cab. Now T endings. Make sure the T's come through clearly. Kate left her cat on the mat as she flew a kite. The sailboat came into the port to join the fleet. What bait will make the fish bite? A cricket or a piece of meat? Very good. Now also remember to add voicing to words with D endings. Bed has a voiced D ending. It's not bet with an unvoiced T, it's bed with a voiced D. Road also has a voiced D ending. Road. It's not wrote, unvoiced, it's road. The whole word is voiced. Let's go over these sentences ending with voiced Ds. Fred will decide which sled should be painted red. David tried to send a refund back to England. He could not hide his report card behind the chalkboard. Very good. Okay, now let's talk about ed endings. Many verbs that are in the past tense end with ed. For example, clean. Today I clean. Yesterday I cleaned. Now, ed endings have similar rules as the s and z endings that we discussed in the second session. Here's the first rule, and probably you already do this correctly. If a word ends in an unvoiced consonant, all we do is add an unvoiced T. So let's look at the word jump, for example. The final sound in jump is a P, which is unvoiced. So when you put it in the past tense, all you do is add a T. So jump becomes jumped with a T sound at the end. Jumped. Of course, the word is spelled with an ed ending. It's just pronounced as a T. Jumped, like that. The word walk, which has an unvoiced K sound at the end, walk, becomes walked. Yesterday I walked. Here's the second rule. If a word ends in a voiced consonant, you add a voiced D. In other words, you keep the whole word voiced. So for example, the word rub ends with a voiced B. Rub. Today I rub. Yesterday I rubbed. All I did was add a voiced D sound at the end. Rubbed. It's not rubbed with an unvoiced T. It's rubbed, like that. Here's another example. Clean ends with a voiced N. So today I clean. Yesterday I cleaned. I cleaned the kitchen. Pour becomes poured. I poured the milk. Scrub becomes scrubbed. I scrubbed the floor. Tag becomes tagged. I tagged the clothing. Spill ends with a voiced L sound. Spill. So it becomes spilled. I spilled the juice. Trim becomes trimmed. I trimmed the tree. Move has that voiced V sound. Move. So it becomes moved. I moved to California. Buzz becomes buzzed. The clock buzzed all night. Okay, so that's the second rule. Here is the third rule. If a word ends in a T or a D sound, we add the ending id, which is a vowel I followed by a D, which is voiced. Id. So for example, the word lift. Lift ends with an unvoiced T. Lift. So today I lift the ball. Yesterday I lifted the ball. Lift becomes lifted. And remember in the third session we talked about when a T falls between two vowels, turns into a D, like in the word water. Water becomes water. Remember that? Well, the same thing happens here when the T comes between two vowels. So look at this next word. Heat. The verb to heat becomes heated. I heated up my dinner. Vote becomes voted. He voted this morning. Hand becomes handed. He handed me his report. Trade becomes traded. I traded in my old car. Add becomes added. She added some information. Okay, now let's go over these exercises with ed endings. You'll notice that I put a line under all the endings that are voiced to help you remember to add voicing. Here we go. Bob raked the leaves and then started to wash his car. He then loaded up the dishwasher and finished washing his dishes. Susan spilled her drink on the spotted rug. She cleaned it up with a napkin, which wasted a lot of time. He thanked me and offered me money if I picked up the used equipment. Very good. Okay, now let's talk about words that end in ng. Some people who speak English as a second language have gotten into the bad habit of adding a K release sound, k, k, like that, after an ng ending. For example, in the word ring, it becomes ring, k. The word walking becomes walking, k. The word talking becomes talking, k, like that. That is not right. The problem is there's just this little k, K sound at the end of the ing sound. Don't do this. It is not right and it does not sound good. Let's talk about the ng sound. There are 3 nasal sounds in English. Nasal sounds are sounds which come out of your nose. Those 3 nasal sounds are M, N, N, and NG. Ing, like that. Let me show you something. Try to say the M sound, while closing off your nose. You see, you cannot do it because the M sound comes out of your nose. It's a nasal sound. Same thing with the NG sound. Ing comes out of your nose. It's a combination of an N and a G, and it is found at the ends of words like ring and sing. And I want you to realize that there is not a K sound. There is not a K sound. The word is not walking, k. It's walking with that ng ending, okay? Walking. Let's practice these sentences with ng endings. Here we go. I have a feeling that she is working too much. She has been wearing a hearing aid so that she could sing. He is looking forward to speaking at the Thanksgiving celebration. Very good. Well, that is it for today's session. I hope that you've been enjoying this program so far and are beginning to notice some improvements in the way you are speaking English. I'll bet you are sounding much better already. Have fun practicing those ending sounds, and I'll see you at the next session. I'm Paul Gruber with the Pronunciation Workshop. Goodbye.